The gunman investigators say killed 2 Israeli embassy staffers in D.C. faces federal murder charges in a targeted act of terror. Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram were just starting their life together, days away from being engaged. The stunning attack and chilling details has prompted more security around synagogues and Israeli embassies around the world. And joining us now to discuss is the former superintendent of the Chicago PD and retired special agent in charge of the FBI, Jody Weis. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Authorities investigating this both as a hate crime against the Jewish community as well as terrorism. The suspect, Elias Rodriguez, told authorities he did it for Palestine and for Gaza. In your experience of these kinds of cases, how much influence do these violent protests, and in this case calls for intifada, impacting these heinous crimes, and how concerned are you about copycats?
You know, Jan, this is really unprecedented territory right now. In my experience, I have never seen anti-Semitic protests done in support of a known terrorist group that committed one of the most egregious acts of terrorism on October 7th, 2023. But does it have an impact? Well, let's look at some stats. The Anti-Defamation League recently published a figure of a 344% increase in anti-Semitic incidents over the past 5 years. So does this have an impact? I think it's reasonable to say, yes, it does. Now, copycats. That is the #1 concern for the Jewish community and their facilities. And why is that? Did you know that Rodriguez is being depicted in social media as a religious hero? He's being shown in robes. So you get people that want this fame, this recognition for all the wrong reasons, and they see this. Could they too then think, hey, I want that fame? And they'll do these horrific acts. But this is what the #1 concern they're looking at right now. And I've always been afraid of copycats because people see this and they want to get that same fame.
When you hear chants of globalize, the intifada, or from the river to the sea, they're not innocuous. Do you agree with that?
No, not at all. Not at all. People are looking at that, and just as what perhaps Rodriguez did, and I think the FBI's investigation will further show his motive. But when people hear this and then they see these acts of terror, which this is what this was, they're going to look at that and say, no, I want to do that too. I'm going to commit to this. And that's what we have to be so afraid of, that we can't keep taking this every day.
We know the DOJ is prosecuting this case and has charged the suspect with murder of foreign officials, which does allow for the death penalty. What other charges are we expecting perhaps, and what's next in this?
I'm expecting terrorism and hate crimes. And why is that? He's already charged with murder because Pam Bondi and company, they want to send a very strong message that this cannot happen again. And when you charge someone not only with murder, but with terrorism and also with a hate crime, hopefully that'll get the message out that these type of actions have consequences.
Yeah. Aside from that, what can we do to prevent future attacks against the Jewish community?
Well, I think, as you know, security is a multi-layered approach. So they're going to look at physical security. We're going to see, are they going to increase their security teams? Are they going to harden the target so that if somebody's thinking about doing something bad, they're going to look at this and say, not here, not today. They're also going to look at intelligence. There are some organizations out there like the Secure Community Network. They do an amazing job of getting information out, intelligence out for threat assessments so that people can react to that and take appropriate measures. And then they're also going to look and practice their emergency response drills, their active shooter drills. And there's also going to be a heightened collaboration with law enforcement to, again, harden those targets to make somebody look at this and say, this is too tough, I'm not going to commit this act of terror.
Superintendent of the Chicago Police Department and retired special agent in charge of the FBI, Jody Weis. Always great to get your expertise on this. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jen. Have a great day.
You too.